hotel management, hotel plus management. At IHM, the education is like doing a BBA plus hospitality, because at IHM we train our student to become global business hospitality managers. In one hand, they are full of knowledge in hospitality, charismatic, and they have got the study skills of very hardcore management subjects like finance, strategic HR, global marketing, and a whole range of the management inputs. So what we create for the world are global hospitality business managers. So at IIHM, the education is like doing a BBA plus hospitality.
IIHM.
For a great hospitality career, call 98310 50,000.
Good evening. Welcome to IIHM Ahmedabad's Chapter 7. Today, actually, this is Ashish and this is Mr. Ritesh, which is the new entry in IIHM Ahmedabad as a F&B faculty, that is Food and Beverage faculty, which he has recently joined. So obviously, you have seen several episodes at IIHM Ahmedabad, and obviously you must have been hearing about what IIHM Ahmedabad is or what IIHM exposures for student is. Oh, yes, and you must be hearing several things, several events like YCO, that is Young Chef Olympiad, Rookie Chef, Super Chefs, several competitions, the international exposures like, we have a wine tour, culinary tour, where the exposures of the students we do. Ideally, we being Gujarat as a dry state, we give an exposures, it's a state prohibition, and we are not able to give the exposures of the liquors and wines as such. So ideally we do something because other colleges can do it probably at their practical labs, but we can't. So we take them to the Sula vineyards, and where the plan has recently been going on, I guess. So that is another there. So we will be talking several things about today, about food and beverage opportunities in the entire world for us and for our students which are there. Okay. So before we touch the actual topic, we have seen several things like, we have done several YouTube lives on how the campus is, then what different practicals are taken care, then what different course subjects are, and what other subjects which are there supplementary. And that is the reason we call it a hotel management. Like Dr. Bose said, the hotel plus management. So yes, definitely there are certain management subjects supporting to the entire core subjects, so that the hotel management professionals can go tomorrow to the hotels and acquire them as a manager. So ideally, that is there. Plus, we have done several sessions on international exposures. Then we have done it on the higher studies. And last time, if you remember, the last topic was this one. We met several stalwarts of the hotel and different departments, where we got different guests from the five-star hotels to meet to the students, what opportunities are there. Currently, so this is Mr. Ritesh, like I said, he's from Kerala, okay, and he just, he has several years of international experience, that is like 13 years of international experience. So he has worked with brands like Hyatt, Marriott, Intercontinentals, then Etihad Airways, and currently he has come from one of the resorts, that's Anantara. Okay, so he was in UAE for a very long time, a part of Abu Dhabi and Dubai for a longer time, and he has done his graduation from Perrier University, and before that you have done a diploma from one of the Maharashtra's college. Okay. So he has done a diploma for 1 year, 3 years diploma, and a 4 years degree. That is the bachelor's degree from Perrier University. So today we have Ritesh Nair here actually to share his experience about the international exposures within food and beverage as a department. So I will be asking several questions because I have several questions like the other students might be having, definitely, like how to go to the international market, how do we get the opportunities, and several others. So we will be covering this entire session just on that. And I hope all the questions which are there in your minds, I might be asking to him. Okay. Other than that, if I miss one of the questions, you probably can reach us out. You can comment it on our session, and then I can ask him later. Probably he can reach out to you and answer each possible questions which are there, hopefully. Okay. So let's start about it. So ideally, I just spoken like he has international experience. So the first obvious question, let's start. That is, how is the international exposure, or how was it?
Oh, well, when I was in my college days, this was one of my dreams to have an international exposure. So apparently, I was very fortunate enough, wherein I had the opportunity to work with a lot of beautiful companies and been to many other countries like in Middle East. I worked for a few months in Sydney, a few months in UK. So that was one of the best moments, I would say. The food and beverage service department is such a vast department wherein the knowledge that you gain is endless. So there is so many things to learn. And having an international exposure is extremely important for a professional, wherein you have that opportunity to learn so many things when it comes to food culture, when it comes to liquors, when it comes to people that you meet, because it has directly or indirectly impact on the industry, the hospitality industry. So yes, that's about the international exposure. I would talk about each and every international exposure that I have in detail in the coming
session.
minutes. Yes.
Okay. So now another question, like when I was in college, a basic guidance is required. Okay. So even if like I'm doing my hotel management, or probably I'm just chopping an onion, a guidance is required, which my chefs or my mentors will be giving definitely. So now you become a mentor because you are an experienced one. And please tell us what are the different preparations required to be or acquire an international opportunity as a job interview, how to crack the job interviews probably, or how to reach out to the correct people which are there, which are not fraud as such.
Mhm.
And I will be reaching to the correct destinations which I aspire.
Well, I think Ashish sir, you mentioned at the beginning that you should have someone advise you actually. When I was in my college, I really wanted to work in different countries wherein I didn't have that guidance or someone to tell me what exactly I need to do. So I would say that this is a very good session that we're doing for the students or for the aspiring kids,
Candidates,
yes,
yeah.
who would like to explore themselves in hospitality, because it is very important that you need to have those small tips and guidances wherein it should be really beneficial for them if they want to crack a job as you said abroad. So yes, but one small advice: when you look for a job somewhere abroad, it is very important that you need to have an exposure in your home country, wherein you have done your studies. So it is very important that you need to have at least a small exposure before you try for a job, somewhere outside. So that is what I did actually. I worked for a year with Marriott in Mumbai, wherein I had a small exposure of that Indian touch in hospitality. And then yes, I tried my luck with a placement cell, based in Bombay. So we had a company which was Paramount Hotels and Resorts. It's a beautiful brand, a Canadian-based brand. So the HR of Paramount Abu Dhabi, they came down to Mumbai to hire, young professionals. So yes, went for the interview, was lucky enough to get through. So that was the kickstart moment for me. Second job in business. First was in India, and my second job was in India. So very important that you need to have basics. You need to know a bit of the things that you're going to face when you work in different countries. Definitely, there are a lot of things that you will learn once you reach that. Yes, I would say that you need to know everything before you go, but at least have an idea so that it will be easier for you, because the most beautiful thing is that you work with people from different nationalities, different culture, different background. They come, they meet you, and they work with you. You get to know them. You get to know their skills. You get to know their weaknesses. You get to know their strengths and everything. And in the end, you have a nice, beautiful, strong team who works together. So that is a beautiful experience.
So, what kind of questions will be asked in the interviews generally, or what are the procedures will be generally?
Well, I just mentioned you, and that is one of the most important questions that an HR will ask you when they try to hire you for a job. That will be how easier it would be for you to get adjusted and get adapted to a multicultural environment. That is extremely important, and you need to be very open and you need to be very positive when you answer that question. That is one of the critical questions that being asked in every interview, because this is very important. Because I've seen people who are interested to work abroad. They go, they join the company, and but then when they see people from different backgrounds and different nationalities, they start missing home, and then they forget about their profession, and it's very difficult for them to get that. But you need to be very open-minded when it comes to hospitality. Yes, you have to accept different kind of people. You won't have exactly like you, so you have to accept that change, and just go with the flow, and everything will be perfect. That is one of the most critical questions. And I would say experience, yes, as I said earlier, you need to have at least an year experience in your home country. That is very important, because they always give priority to people who have already had an experience. So basically, if you're applying from India, it is always good that you have at least, let's say, 1 year experience in a nice branded property, so that you get that plus point when you try to
That
work
is
abroad.
crucial. Okay. Then my next question would be, like, if I am a hotel management graduate, okay, so and I am moreover interested in food and beverage, okay. So apart from a five-star hotel, where else I can be, looking for a job, or where would I get the opportunities to work with?
Trust me, very interesting question. The list is just enormous. There is plethora of options. When people do hotel management, they always think that okay, either we are going to work in hotels or resorts or restaurants. That was the mentality way back, maybe 20 or 25 years. But now, when you see the options that we have, once you do your hotel management, and if you have that willingness and interest in food and beverage service, you have an endless, list of the areas or the industry that you work. Hotels, resorts, restaurants, yes, for sure, that are the basic industries. But now, if you see, there are industries such as airlines, there are industries, even railways. Gone are the days where railways were not concentrating on food and beverages, but now everyone is concentrating on food and beverages. Everyone is concentrating on guest services, and if you see, a lot of industry is getting privatized. So once the industries get privatized, the level of expectation that a customer demands or expects is to another level. So to fulfill that demand, to fulfill that expectation, you need to have professionals. Not the old school people, but you need to have professional who knows the basic, who knows the standard, and who can deliver the best service. So as I told airlines, this was an important part in my career. Airlines, it's a beautiful industry. I worked in hotels, resort, but I would say food and beverage service in airlines is amongst the best. When we think about airlines, people have that concept like, okay, you're traveling, there are cabin crews who comes and who gives, a meal tray, yes, a meal tray. Probably you'll watch a movie and then that's it, your destination is there, you deboard the aircraft. No. But now airlines are getting into a compact competition. There are so many premium airlines that they want to step up, do something completely different. So just to name a few, there are airlines such as Singapore Airlines, Emirates, Qatar Airways, the best airline. All these airlines are concentrating so much in guest services and hospitality that it is not only transporting a customer from one destination to another destination, but it is something like providing a memory to the guest. I've worked in companies where we have that motto or saying like turning moments into memories for a guest. When they come to hotels, they stay, they check out. their moments with the hotel stay has to be turned into a memory so that they remember and they come back to you. Correct?
Correct.
So exactly is the concept in airlines. They wanted to do maximum things. They wanted to give maximum comfort. They want to give maximum facilities, maximum amenities, so that that journey should be memorable. So I was fortunate enough to work for Etihad Airways. It's one of the 5-star rated airline. I worked with the airline as food and beverage manager. So basically, I was taking care of the guest services in business class, first class, and residence. Now, this residence is one of the turning point, I would say, or the USP that airline has. Residence is basically the only 2-bedroom apartment on board an aircraft. So, have you ever imagined about a 2-bedroom apartment on board an aircraft? Never, right? When I was doing my studies, no, I never imagined a bedroom on an aircraft. Yes. So they had this A380 aircraft from Airbus. It's a jumbo jet. It's double decker. So it's double decker. And in that one section is having a 2-bedroom apartment and a personal shower and bathroom. Plus to add on, they have a personal bathroom. So this was the concept and USP that Etihad had. So when I started working with Etihad, they came up with this idea. And yes, they have a butler service, and they have the most luxurious and sophisticated service. With the equipment that they use, the standards, the procedures that they use, the products on board that they use, they're just top notch. You will find them in brands like Ritz-Carlton or let's say Four Seasons. So you can imagine the standards. Yeah. So I was working as food and beverage manager, in charge of the guest services in all these premium cabins. So I was monitoring the services of cabin crew. Again, you have to work with almost 200 nationalities of people. So in the beginning, it is challenging, but you hold on your nerves, stay positive. Human beings are all the same. We are all working for the same purpose. So you have the interest, everything will be fine. So yeah, worked in airlines, and I also had the chance of setting up 5-star airline lounges. When you hear about lounges, it's just like okay, the extra buffet, a small buffet, and then you eat, and then you transit. No, now we have 5-star airline premium lounges in airports. So I had to open lounges in Sydney, in UK, in Manchester. So once you enter that lounge, it's exactly like a fine dining restaurant. So yes, fortunate enough to work there. And yes, having the experience in airline is beautiful because you get a chance to travel to so many countries. You get the chance to meet people there. You can see the culture there. You can try the food. You can try the wine. This was one of the reasons I joined airline. I wanted to try first of all the food. I wanted to try the wines. I wanted to try the different liquors every country produces. So lucky enough, been to many countries. And this is just one of the perks that you get when you join the hospitality industry, especially food and beverage. I would love to promote food and beverage. That's airlines. I already spoke about railways. Railways is coming up with a lot of catering options. They are coming up with a plan wherein the passengers will have an app. They just order a food, they choose. Yes, exactly, and the professionals will deliver the food at railway station. So that is railways. I just 2 years back or something, I was just checking the industries which is growing in terms of food and beverage or opportunities for people from food and beverage background. One of the fastest growing industries, tea and coffee estates.
Okay.
Yes, so there are a lot of estates in India wherein they give priority to hotel management graduates now, and they hire them straight away as a management training, just 1 or 2 years as a management training, and then they will post you as an estate manager. So basically, you are responsible for the cultivation, yes, quality check, production, sales, marketing, and everything. And this is something I started gaining a keen interest on it because I wanted to know more about tea and coffee. So if I want something to learn in future, that would be about tea and coffee. So that is tea and coffee industry, liquor industry. My goodness, something. If I talk, it would go for 2 and 3 hours. Liquor industry, distillation, distilleries, and if you see the liquor sales that we have, the compounded annual growth rate is the highest for liquor industry. That was last year it was 3.8.
Exactly.
So the annual revenue from a liquor industry is 3.8, and it is growing every year. So you can imagine the number of opportunities, the number of new distilleries coming up, the number of products. People are experimenting so much with liquor that they mix and match. They put an extra tasting note, they put a spice in it just to make it different. And yes, and I believe everything is being clicked properly. When you mix and match the right liquor, and you age them in a proper liquor barrel and everything, you find the finest quality liquors. So there's a lot of distilleries coming up, and the opportunities there for hotel management graduates and all. And if you have interest in liquor, I have interest in liquor. So that is one of the places, which is, and the list goes on and on. Retail, never to forget. I've seen so many people joining retail industry after getting graduated. All big retail chains are giving preference to hotel management because
Yeah.
right, because guest services is a very important factor when it comes to retail, right? The customer satisfaction is not just about selling a product, trying a product, and just leaving the shop. No. It is about the service that you provide, and it is about the team that you provide. And this is one of the finest essence a hotel management background professional has, is he automatically develops a skill of cultivating and building a nice, productive, beautiful team. Because hotel management graduates, they have a lot of patience. They are very open-minded and they adjust themselves to changes. So this is very important in retail industry. So yes, opportunities are just skyrocketing in retail industry. If you ask me the list, it is on and on.
Some of a bit you can speak about like cruise liners.
Definitely. Cruise liners. Looking at the current situations, I would say, okay, it's just freeze now, but it is going to bounce back. Cruise liners, yes, one of the biggest industry, I would say. If you take an example of Royal Caribbean, they got merged with a lot of small cruise liners, right? So they have taken a lot of cruise line companies. They are one of the biggest cruise liners, and especially people who comes from Europe, especially from Australia. People over there after retirement, they have the tendency, they have a lot of money. They have the tendency, to have a relaxed life. Let's go for a voyage for 6 or 8 months. So demand is increasing day by day. And cruise line is exactly like a large five-star deluxe hotel floating on an ocean. So you would find each and everything that you find in a hotel exactly in a cruise liner. And trust me, the standards, the service behaviors, the equipments, the ambience, everything, you can easily compare it to a five-star. So basically, it is exactly that you're working in a cruise. So once you have that knowledge, after graduation, you can definitely work in cruise liners. It is going to be an incredible experience for you. You might have seasickness in the beginning, but you will get used to it. Again, you will get a lot of destinations to see. You will work with different people, and in a cruise line, I would say that in a ship, you will find restaurants of about 18 to 20 counts. They might have restaurants of each visit. So just get transferred to different restaurant, project yourself different cuisines, and gain the knowledge. That is the most beautiful thing in cruise line.
Okay. There is another experience you spoke about, like distilleries. Okay. So same way I've been hearing about the term called sommeliers. Okay, they are known for their knowledge and they're known, that is the job actually, the knowledge. Okay. So can you just tell the listeners what actually sommeliers are about and where are they exactly hired?
Right. When we talk about wines, okay, let's say like sommeliers are the experts in wine. So basically, they know each and everything about wines. They are the ones who basically upsell, who suggest a particular wine to the guests. So they have to know the knock and corner of the wine, from the cultivation of a grape to till the bottling, labeling. So they have to know each and everything. Sommeliers, yes, and hotel management graduate can definitely be a sommelier. There are different courses after you get graduated. So after 3 years of graduation, there are different courses for being a sommelier. Yes, it's an extensive course wherein they concentrate a lot on wine production and depth, the knowledge, it's too much in depth about wines, grapes. So yes, when we talk about wines, it is not just a bottle of wine and just you're serving it on the table. Definitely not. It is a story that you present it on the table. When you go to the guest, because a small grape is fermented and then it is being bottled and it is being stored for so many years. After the maturity, it comes on the bottle. So it is basically an entire story that a sommelier explains to the guest right from the grape to the bottle. So it's not just a wine which you're pouring from the bottle; it's a story. Uh, Sommeliers, they have in-depth knowledge right from grape production, types of grape, skin variety, seeds, temperature, storage, each and everything. So it starts from the type of grape that they use and how that grape is being cultivated and how that grape is being pressed into a juice and how that juice is being processed and how that grape is being fermented, till what time that juice is being fermented, in what temperature is that juice temperature, where it is stored, and then how it is bottled and how many years it is being aged. So we call something like a vintage wine. So the more the vintage, the more expensive the wine gets, and the tasting notes and everything is beautiful. So for a common person, if you taste several kinds of wine, you would say like all wines are tasting the same. Yes.
Yeah.
But if you give 10 bottles of wines to a sommelier and you blindfold him and you pour those 10 bottles of wine in different glasses, and if you ask the sommelier to taste, that guy is probably going to tell you each and every tasting note of that particular wine. So basically, he will tell you what flavors have been added, what spices have been added, what kind of fruits or what kind of fruit skin has been added. Each and everything the sommelier is he's able to answer. So that person is just genius when it comes to wine. So yes, that is one of the most interesting part when you want to know more about wines. That's the best field to be a sommelier, and you have to kickstart after your graduation from hotel. There are a lot of different courses wherein they will make you an expert, and then you work for a nice branded hotels, and then you have an extensive wine list. I've worked in a restaurant where there was 300 different varieties of wines, and we had uh, almost around 4,000 bottles of wine. So we just had cellars in that restaurant. We didn't had pillars in that restaurant. We had only cellars, and we had tables in between those cellars. And the sommelier in that restaurant, he knows each and every minute details about each bottle. So that person is a complete genius. So very interesting thing.
So listened about all those opportunities in F&B. Definitely, food and beverage is a vast field, and definitely it is not. We have done hotel management, so we'll be only working in hotels. So several options stated by Sir with every detail which is there, and what works exactly we will be supposed to be doing, and how they are supposed to be important to be. Okay, so there is airlines, there are ships, there are hotels, there are retails, there are tea, coffee, distilleries, sommeliers, and vineyards, and several other things which are there. True, correct? So now, since he is from the international market, so I would definitely, take certain self questions like which I wanted to ask him. He like how the difference you found because you worked for one of the Indian hotel for a certain time and a larger time for the international market. So how did you find the difference between the Indian and international work culture, or probably the styles of there, or probably, because you said ki there are multiple nationalities were there. So obviously each country will be having their own cultures,
Right.
their own zest of it. So how does it make a difference? Because we Indians are like, always guest as God and this and that, wherein an American or probably other nationality person may not take it and may just give a high five to a guest. So that different culture is quite odd to me being Indian, a true Indian. Okay, fine, I'll take offense to it. So how the difference was there?
Well, yes, as I told you, we have to work with people from different nationalities. let's say about our example, we consider guests as like Atiti Devo Bhava, right?
Yeah.
So for us, guest is God.
God, yeah.
Yes. So this concept remains the same for everyone actually, because you're working in hotels and you have to be that, that kind of minded person, wherein guest is God for you. So this is a bit similar, but when you take the cultural differences of people, there are some kind of practices, some kind of behavior which a human being has. So when these people they come from that countries, yet they bring that essence, and this is something that you notice when you work with them. You show your style, and they show your style. In books, yes, when you study hotel management in the college, books it's almost the same. The procedures, the concepts, everything is same in the book. You have to study everything, but there is something there is like there is a cultural essence a person brings to his work area, which is easily you can notice at workplace. For example, if you work with people from Indonesia and Philippines, they are very down to earth person, and they are very polite. Very polite, very down to earth. So when they communicate with the guest, sometimes I was amazed to see them the way they communicate with the guest, because they're so polite, and the body language they carry, and the way they solve problems of guests, it is just amazing. So this is something that I learned from them. So this is very unique, and there might be things that they have been noticing from me, because we all come from different cultures. So there are a lot of lessons that we bring as a human being, and then when you come together and work for the same purpose, there is individual contribution from everyone. So there are finest things that you notice in human being, and it is very important.
So this is how the difference was between India and
And
international.
when you look at the work culture, yes, and when you look at the types of customers that we have, that is a bit different. In Middle East, we were more concentrated in Arab guests, so we were more into Arabic culture, Arabic food, Arabic beverages, Arabic themes, decors, and everything. They have this nice holy month of Ramadan. It's
Yes.
1 month wherein this 1 month is completely concentrated on Arabic themes, Arabic food. They've been fasting the entire day. They break their fast, then they eat in the evening. So yes, these are something that you would not find in India, but you have to experience this when you go out. And you see this for 1 year, you see this for 2 years. There's so many things that you're seeing, and then eventually you will get used to it. And then you will find yourself right in between that culture. The third and fourth year, you will find yourself in that culture.
Part of it,
Exactly.
yeah.
You've been seeing this for so many years. So these are finest things that you notice when you work in different countries. And when you work in a country like Sydney or UK, the work environment is a bit casual. They're very open-minded. The service culture is very casual. Where in India, we have strict procedures, we have strict service sequences and everything. But in countries like US, UK, and Australia, they are a bit casual about the service. But I don't think that is a right way to follow. So you have to stick to your basics. You have to stick to what you have learned in your college, because that will take you to a long. So different countries, they have different behaviors.
Exactly, yeah.
So you just need to go there. You need to experience that, and just do that. It's amazing.
So see, apart from the jobs, there is a culture which is give and take happens. We teach them certain things, they teach us certain things. So obviously, like Sir gave an example of a Ramadan. Okay. So ideally now I would just go back to the topic, which is just focused on food and beverage, which we decided to. So I'll just tell you a few things, since you are a new part of IIHM, what we do as a food and beverage, just to be focused on, or how the practicals are taken care, or probably what we actually focus on. So there is a 3 years program, obviously, and we have spoken about. So there are 4 subjects called food and beverage, food production, housekeeping, and front office. So out of that, today we are talking about food and beverage. So what different practicals we do it in here. So the first year is exactly about everything basic. Obviously, you must be
Right.
Yes, because he is also a graduate, so definitely, and he is taking care of the students since now. but I'm just giving a zest of it, like how do we go ahead in IIHM? What different we do from other institutes, ideally. Okay. So we just take them to the basic round of it, like what exact basic culture is. So there is a water service.
Correct.
So in that, different types of waters and what is the still water, what is the spring water, everything is covered. Then presenting a menu, so be it types of menu that is there. Then they, I guess, start planning the menus in first year only, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so they start planning a menu with a complete science and a psychology that, a color of a food should not be repeated. A single food, or sorry, a same food is not should be repeated in the menu, and several other things, so that guest will not be monotonous that I'm eating only aloo. So it is like a very basic science which this F&B people put up to with the along, I guess, with correlations with the chefs, right? So they meet up with these chefs. There is a lot of brainstorming which has been put up. We just see the menus of 5 pages, 6 pages here and there, and I don't like this, I don't like that. But wherein these people are the one who have, put up the efforts, and we see those menus in the hotel. So ideally, this is the chef and F&B is doing it. So that's they learn. I guess menu pricing is in which year, sir? Second year?
We started at the end of first year, then we
Okay.
expertise the students in second year, and then it follows to the third year.
Third year
So
also.
basically, in third year, we do the final budgeting.
Yes. So would you please elaborate on menu pricing? How does it exactly go?
Well, menu pricing, first of all, you have to decide what exactly that you're going to offer to the guest. I'll just explain in simple words because being complex is not required.
True. Yeah.
First of all, you decide what exactly that you're going to offer to the guest. Secondly, what ingredients that you're going to choose. Thirdly, what will be the cost price? So per ingredient, you have to have an idea about the cost price, and then you have to figure out the selling price, like what price you're going to offer that product to a customer. And in between that, you have to fix the margin, the profit margin that you are planning. So this is basically the basics of price. Basically, you have to know the ingredients, you have to know the cost price, you fix a selling price, and then you have to figure out the margin that you're expecting out of that product. Okay. So that is how you fix
the correct price. Oh, so see, lot of work. Okay. So yeah, exactly. So that is a fun part of work wherein F&B is just not servicing a guest or probably servicing a liquor. A lot of science, a lot of efforts have been put up by the managers and supervisors and people on top, and then the entire process or the synchronization in the restaurant.
I would just like to inform everyone that food and beverage service department is the second highest, earning department when it comes to an organization, hospitality organization after rooms. So yes, the majority part of revenue comes from rooms, but after the rooms, it's definitely food and beverage service. So you get revenue from restaurants. You provide a beautiful menu, you fix a price, and you, as I mentioned earlier, you have to calculate your margin after covering the cost and miscellaneous expenses. Revenue from restaurants, revenue from room service, revenue from bars, and a big chunk comes from the conventions, the events, banquet events. Big events, you get big chunk of money. So food and beverage department is the second highest revenue earning department. So yes, the revenue that
So yes, now one more addition perk in here. When the revenue comes, you achieve the budgets or you exceed the things, the incentives comes in the part of here. So that is the increments which you get, the incentives will be got by us. Okay, so we give the revenues, we will be getting certain perks. Okay, so yeah, that is another, I would say, what? A fascination to work in revenue earning departments. That is front office and food and beverage especially. Okay, so now I guess the last question probably, since it is one of the major questions which I might be having because I worked in the industry pre-COVID. Okay, and then the COVID happened last 2 years and it's still going probably. you were a part before somewhere
was, yes.
pre-COVID for a larger
Correct.
time,
Correct.
but you were a part for a certain time
Correct.
post-COVID also.
Correct.
So how do you think, like, we pre-COVID think like that was a different era,
Mhm.
and post-COVID the industry
is
has
completely
changed
different,
360
yes.
degree definitely.
Yes.
Since I'm a housekeeping professional, so I to see definitely
Right.
a lot of 360 degree. Matlab, housekeeping has got
Right.
several
Right.
importance
Right.
nowadays.
Right.
So how do you feel that F&B or food and beverage as a part pre-COVID and post-COVID changes have happened?
But there is a lot of changes when it comes to food and beverage service. Let's take an example of a restaurant in a hotel. Earlier, everything was, everything is in your books. You know everything, what kind of service sequence that you have to follow, like right from top to bottom, and you follow all those service sequences, and you paid a good farewell to the guest, and the guest is happy. But now with COVID, a lot of things have changed. There are a lot of things wherein we had to compromise when it comes to standards. I'll give you an example of use and throw tissues. So basically, in a restaurant, when you go to a fine dining restaurant, you get a nice serviette, folded in, in an amazing shape, crisp and clean.
Exactly.
But now many hotels has been adopting a procedure wherein they use just regular, use and throw napkins. It's not their fault, but the government, where I was working in Middle East, the government has strictly given them guidelines what all exactly things you have to use in a restaurant. So that is a place where we were deviating from the standards, but obviously you cannot do much about it, but you have to just follow what you're being told by the government. So that was just an example. Yes, there's a lot of other things. When the guest enters, you have to welcome them with a sanitizer. This is completely weird experience. Earlier, we used to, welcome them in the entrance, right? Welcome them in the entrance with a smile. And nowadays, we have to welcome them with a sanitizer.
A temperature gun.
Right.
Yeah.
And you escort them to a table. You have to make sure that you have a proper social distancing. This might feel a bit weird for the guest. The guest might think like, why this person is, obviously the guest knows it's about COVID. But suddenly when a guest comes, post-COVID and he sees all these changes, he might feel weird, right? So yes, social distancing. And then in a restaurant where I worked, we almost had 40 tables inside the restaurant. But after post-COVID, we changed it to 15 or 12 roughly. So we got rid of so many tables just because we have to, follow that social distancing procedures. Yes,
True.
and only families were supposed to sit on a table, on a single table. I mean, the same table, only families were allowed, and social distancing. And you put wipes on the tables. So a lot of things were removed from the table. We had nice, flower decoration. We had nice vase. We had cruet sets on the table. Yes, that's basic setup on the table, but that is how a table setup is complete. When you see all these things, right? Pre-COVID, when you go to the restaurant, you find the table setup, everything set with the linen, with the runner, with a nice vase, with an elegant cruet set. Yes, but we had to get rid of each and everything. So basically, the table looked empty. There was just placemat that were paper placemats. When you go to a fine dining restaurant, you have nice linen placemat.
Yeah.
But now we had to use just paper placemats, use and throw. So that looks cheap and it looks weird, but no other options. As I told you, we had to use this use and throw napkins. Again, it looks very cheap, but this is something we had to follow. Wipes on the table. And yes, cutleries and crockeries and everything were going through an intense washing procedure. Not just a normal procedure; it was going through different chemicals and everything before it is given to a different guest. So no linen at all on the table. Everything has to be used and through. Social distancing, sanitizer to be provided always to the guest. Mask, mask to be worn. Sometimes you communicate to the guest, yes, and it is a bit difficult when you communicate to the guest. Right, exactly. The guest might not hear what you're saying.
Correct.
So these are the practices. So basically, when you enter to a restaurant, I would say the restaurant looked completely different. pre-COVID and post-COVID.
Yeah.
And the service sequence, the procedures, the A to Zs that you do is completely different. So you have to keep that aside for a while, and then you have to stick to the norms that the government's providing you, and then you have to follow that. And it is for the good of everyone, actually.
Correct. Yeah.
Because I think this period of COVID will stay with us for a longer period of time. Yes, you can see different versions of this virus coming out. So this is not going away easily. So it will stay with us. So we have to get adjusted to that. But hopefully our industry will be back, and it is going back, right?
It is bouncing
So
back.
everything will come back to normal. You'll have to do all the procedures and basics that you have been taught in the college, exactly the same you follow in the college, so that you can utilize what you have been taught in your college. So everything will go back to the normal, hopefully.
Okay. Just one last question before concluding, actually. It just came to my mind when I was just thinking about STARS, which we have started for the aspiring as entrepreneurs. Okay. So just as an F&B professional, how do you suggest or how do you think, suppose I want to start up my business, but I've worked only in food and beverage, okay, or probably I'm just a food and beverage specialized graduate, okay. So how do I go ahead and plan up my own business or something like that? Do I have any opportunities for that?
Well, definitely yes. When you have a background of food and beverage, you always have that upper hand. When you want to start something of your own, which is related to food industry.
Okay.
Because the things that you learn from your college, it starts from the basic about food and beverages. It teaches you the recipes. It teaches you the way, the style, how you have to serve it to the guest. It teaches you the costing aspect, as we told you. It teaches you the budgeting, everything. So you just need a professional, wherein a person who can assist you with the interior designing, structures, and everything. Equipment. You just need someone to assist you with that. Basically, there is a lot of professional, consultants whom you can approach, and they will just set up everything for you. But since you have an experience of food and beverage, the most critical part is serving the best food to the customers, right?
Yes.
And you're already an expertise because you have that food and beverage background.
Exactly.
And when you are a hotel management graduate, you have that essence and you have that upper hand that you can do that business better than a person who doesn't have hotel management background. Yes, because that person has just one concept, is like you have to serve and you have to gain profit. That's it. True. But when you do hotel management, when you're keen in doing entrepreneurship, you automatically develop an habit wherein the profit is not just profit is not your intention or your expectations.
Achievement.
Yes, this is
Exactly.
something which is related to quality. It is something related to service. It is something related to that uniqueness that you have to do differently from the other business providers. So this is something that you will learn in your 3-year course, how to do things differently and how to wow the customers that you get, and how to customers comes with an expectation, right? The product that you provide to the guest or to a customer, they have a certain expectation. So when you have a background of hospitality, you automatically have that culture and behavior to do things different. This profit is not your intention. So you can do things differently, and you have already that technical skills that you get in 3-year studies. You will automatically use those technical skills and you will start up your own business, and you will find yourself doing things in a different way. And this is what successful people have seen. So I've met a lot of people who have done hotel management and they've started something of their own, even though it's small, but the quality that they provide, this is something the customers are getting attracted, because customers, they want different things, right? They have different demands. They want to see changes in everything, be it food or beverages. Whatever food, beverages you serve, they love to see changes, right? It's just maybe, I would say, a burger, but the way you present it, the uniqueness of small changes or the small alteration that you do to that burger will itself attract customers. And this idea of alteration, this idea of small changes, you will definitely get when you do hotel management, because this is how you develop that habit of thinking different.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you want to be an entrepreneur, why not? This is the best place.
Okay. So yes, thank you, Ritesh sir, for
Thank you.
actually telling us several things like food and beverage. If you choose as a core department as your career, there are options in Indian market as well as in international market. Since he is the international market experienced person, so he could talk about so many things and options for us. That is the cruise liners, the airlines, and sommeliers, distilleries, and several other options of tea, coffee, and several other things. Only the thing is, yes, you have to be much more knowledgeable and updating yourself on a regular basis about everything happening in
Right.
the world
Correct.
at this moment, and especially in hospitality. And yes, not every hotel management graduate will work in five-star hotels only. They will have several other opportunities. Plus, yes, sir talked about like, yes, a person can be either a business consultant for the aspirant entrepreneurs, or probably they can start their own businesses with the partnerships, or probably on their own. Be it a small, be it whatever, but it has to be unique and it has to be
Correct.
customer friendly.
Correct.
Okay. So these were the points actually discussed where we have, if you are a food and beverage co-department or a specialized or aspirant to. Okay. So in the next sessions, probably we'll try and talk about one of the other rooms division or probably food production as a department where we will cover the next specialized opportunities which are available in the market. So thank you for today. Adios. And let's meet in the next chapter.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
very
Thank you.
much.